Hello, everyone. I have another story for us today, and this one is the true story of the Three Little Pigs by A. Wolf, as told by John Scalise, illustrated by Lane Smith. The true story of the Three Little Pigs. Everybody knows the story of the Three Little Pigs, or at least they think they do. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody has ever heard my side. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf. You can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it is all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. It's not my fault that wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheeps and pigs. It's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think that you were a big, bad wolf, too. But as I was saying, the whole big, bad wolf story is wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. So this is the real story of what happened with the Three Little Pigs. Way, way back, once upon a time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear granny. I had a terrible cold and I was running and I ran out of sugar. I think that there is a rabbit in that mixing bowl in his cake that he is making for his granny. So I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now, this neighbor was a pig. He wasn't too bright either. He'd built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in their right mind builds a house out of straw? So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to walk right in to somebody else's house, so I called out, little pig, are you in? No answer. So I was just about to go home without my cup of sugar for my dear granny's birthday cake. When my nose started to itch, I felt a sneeze coming on. Well, and I snuffed. Sneezed a great sneeze. And you know what? That whole darn house of straw fell down. And right in the middle of the pile was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He'd been home the whole time. How rude. It seemed a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there in the straw, so I ate it up. Think of it as a big cheeseburger. I was feeling a little bit better, but still didn't have my cup of sugar, so I went to the next neighbor's house. The next neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not much. He had built his house out of sticks. As I rang the doorbell, ding dong, nobody answered. So I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? The pig yelled back, go away, wolf. You can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs off my chinny chin. Rude little pig. Just as I had grabbed the door handle, I felt another sneeze coming on. Yeah, I huffed and I snuffed and I tried to cover my mouth and my nose, but it was a great big sneeze. Achoo! You're not going to believe it. This guy's house fell down just like his brother's. And when the dust cleared, there was his second little pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor. Now you know food will spoil, and if you just leave it out in the open like that. So I did the only thing that there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full in my belly, but my cold was starting to feel better. I still didn't have that cup of sugar, though, for my dear Granny's birthday cake. So I went to the next house. This guy was the first little pig and the second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family. He had built his house of bricks. I knocked on the door and no answer. Knocked again. Mr. Pig, Mr. Pig, are you in? And you know what that rude little porker said? Get out of here, wolf. Don't bother me again. Talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sack of sugar, and he wouldn't give me one little cup for my sweet, sweet Granny's birthday cake. What a pig. I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt my cold come on. I have to. I sneezed, I sniffled, and I sneezed again. Achoo! And then the third little pig yelled, You and your old granny can go sit on a pin. Now, I am usually a very calm fellow, but when someone calls my granny like that, I go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, of course, I was trying to break into the pig's house. I was huffing and puffing the whole time and sneezing at achoo, 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 making a real scene. The rest, they say, is history. The news reporters found out about the two pigs I'd had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar just wasn't sounding very exciting. So they jazzed up the story with all that huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down. And they made me the big bad wolf. And that's it. That's the real story of how I, Al Wolf, was framed. But maybe you can loan me a cup of sugar. Here you go. The story, the true story of the three little pigs. Love you, my family.